Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video, we'll be looking at why did ASML stock price crash. It crashed almost 16% in one day and there was a small correction the following day as well. We'll look at the reasons. Then we'll also be doing a technical analysis of ASML stock as well as the semiconductor related companies and how they are doing well or how they are not doing. Some of them are not doing well. We'll look at them on the charts. Then we'll also be looking at the composition of the SMH ETF, which is the semiconductor ETF. And we'll look at which are the ones dominating this particular index and what is a percentage of market share, like what is the percentage of the index that they are occupying. That is all the three things that we'll be covering in today's video. If you are new to this channel, I am Vinod and I am a momentum based systematic trader. Like that is, I use stock price momentum as a main factor for my decisions. Let us dive into the video. The number one reason why ASML crashed was because of the bad numbers shared during the quarterly reports. They also shared the report a day earlier. Like you can see from here, there was some kind of a human mistake, and then they released their quarterly earnings report and their guidance and all that a day earlier. And it is not because of this accidental earnings disclosure that the market crashed. It was because of what they said and the report that caused the market to panic and the investors to sell out or close their positions or reduce their exposure to ASML stock price, and that's what resulted in the 16% drop in one particular day. So let's look at what did they say in the quarterly report. They said that the main reason is that they have lowered their revenue forecast. As we always say, markets are forward looking, and since the ASML company has said that they are expected to see a decline in their revenue forecast, and that's the reason for the panic around the stock price. They lowered their revenue forecast. Earlier they said that they would be earning anywhere between 30 to 40 billion, but now they have reduced it to 30 to 35 billion, and that is mainly because of a couple of reasons. One reason is that there is a slow recovery in traditional markets like smartphones and PCs, and there are also geopolitical reasons why ASML have to reduce their exposure to Chinese market because of US having a semiconductor policy, and then they are suggesting their allies to reduce selling to Chinese market, especially the semiconductor chips, so that they can have an advantage over the other countries. And the main reason is because of this slowing growth from traditional markets in which ASML has a very good position. But they also saw some strong demand. These were the negatives. So if we look at, there were a few positives as well. They are expecting strong demand for AI based applications as well. But the overall picture wasn't very rosy. Let us now look at ASML stock price. Let's do a technical analysis. We'll look at the ASML stock price. As we can see from the chart here, we are viewing it on a daily time frame, and we can see here the stock price is below the 200-day moving average. And one of the rules that most traders or investors follow is they don't touch anything that is trading below the 200-day moving average, because they feel that nothing good happens below the 200-day moving average. So you can see here all the moving averages are pointing down because of a strong sell-off. The stock is also making higher lows, and it tried to make a higher high and move above, but it has since then crashed from the earnings report came, and it has a strong momentum in the downward direction. And this is a price point that is very crucial, that this particular one 700 to 750 range, because this is a place from which it broke out and continued to rally. Now, if this downtrend continues, we can expect the stock to reach this price points. It might happen, but there's no certainty. But the other semiconductor industry related stocks are also doing well, like Nvidia, Broadcom, Qualcomm, and Micron, and they are all doing well. So ASML is also in the semiconductor industry, so we can expect some kind of a turnaround, or like the moving averages to turn around if there is some strong buying pressure coming in. We'll have to wait and watch how this plays out. There are a couple of scenarios. It could go down to this particular range and then try to let me draw it again here. It might come down and then try to bounce back and then try to move like this. That's one scenario. Or it might crash and test the other support levels as well. We'll have to watch for this turnaround in moving averages, and then we can enter. Like, that is my view, because my style of trading is that I try to put my money in where the strength is. Just like the index has a strong bias towards stocks that are showing strength and companies that are growing bigger. So the chart shows that the price is very weak at the moment. It has a strong momentum in the downward direction, and all the moving averages are pointing down. The 21-day, 50-day and 200-day moving averages are all pointing down, showing that sellers are currently now in control, and then they are pushing the stock price down. It is expected because there is uncertainty, and they have lowered their future growth revenue prospects, and that's the reason for this huge crash. It's almost crashed 16% in one day, which is a very huge price drop for a big company like ASML. They almost lost close to like 50 billion, like you can see from here, in one day. And it also affected the other companies in the semiconductor industry like Nvidia, Micron, AMD, and all these semiconductor chips companies, because they think that similar revenue forecast might be the case for all the chip related companies. So the technical analysis or the chart shows us that the price is very weak and sellers are currently now in control. Now the next natural question that comes up is if ASML is a buy right now. Now the answer to this question depends. It actually depends. It depends upon a couple of things. The time frame that you have, like if you are buying it for 1 year, or if you're going to hold it for several years, or if you already have an exposure and you're already an investor, and what is your average buy price and all those things. And also it depends upon what style of trader are you, what style of investor are you. Now, if you like buying strength or you like buying weakness. Buying strength is buying breakouts, or when the stock is showing a strong momentum and is going in the upward direction, that is called as buying strength. I'll show that in chart. So buying into strength is buying these breakouts phases where the stock is moving in the right direction. So this is called as buying strength. Like this phases where like it broke out from this particular level, and after the breakout you can see that it gave a huge rally. Now there are also some kind of traders or investors who buy pullbacks. That is, when the stock is in an uptrend, they try to enter when the stock pulls back to the 21-day moving average or 50-day moving average, so that they can lower their risk. That is the main thing. So this is called as buying weakness. The overall trend is up, but you're trying to enter the stocks when they are pulling back towards their average, towards their median or median price. So nothing goes up in straight line, even in stock markets. Nothing goes parabolic all the time. Anything that goes up needs to revert to the mean, and that is what you usually see happening. But right now, what is happening is that the stock is in a downtrend. You can see the overall trend is down, moving. It's making it's making lower highs and lower lows. What do I mean by that is this high is lower than this high, and this high is lower than this high. So the stock is making a series of lower highs and lower lows, and it's showing a downtrend. So we don't know like when this trend will stop and when it will turn around. It can be shown by these moving averages showing up. Like you can expect, like you can see that during this pullback phase, it did come back and then consolidated for few weeks or few months, and then the moving averages started pointing upwards. So once we see the stock is moving back into strength, that is the point at which we can try to enter. If you are a person who likes to buy strength, that is the style that you would follow. But if you are someone who has a very long time horizon, you like to buy like coffee can investing style, like you buy and keep and hold for several years, then ASML is in the semiconductor industry, which is a very growing industry. It is slightly cyclical, like meaning there will be cycles in which there will be growth phases where there is a strong demand for these chips, and then there will be phases in which there will be slower demand, right? Like they have pointed out, like they are seeing a slow growth in their traditional markets like smartphones and PCs. So that is the reason why they call the semiconductor industries as a cyclical industry. And the next question, yeah, so I hope that answers your question. It really depends upon what kind of an investor or a trader you are, whether you like to buy strength or whether you like to buy weakness. Like I also showed in the chart, you can look at when the stock is pulling back and then it is trying to reverse, and then showing when the moving averages are showing a turnaround. We can see it in the past, like it has gone down, but it has shown phases where it has tried to make higher highs and higher lows. When the stock makes higher high and higher lows, it means that it is trying to get into an uptrend. That is the definition of a uptrend. Right now it is in a downtrend, as you can see that the price is having a strong momentum in the downwards direction. So that hope that answers your question whether ASML is a buy right now. Let's also look at some of the technical analysis of SMH ETF. Before that, let's first look at the composition of SMH. Now we can see here that almost 20% of SMH is in Nvidia. Nvidia is a clear leader in the semiconductor industry, and that's the reason why it has so much weight. Even in an ETF, having 20%, close to 20% is like a big position in a semiconductor, in a ETF as well, because ETF is supposed to be composed of several companies, and for one company to have a 20% weightage is a very huge thing. And if you see the next one as well, which is Taiwan Semiconductor, it has a 12% weight, and the next one is Broadcom. Now when we look at these top, they almost make up around 20, 32, 39, 30, nearly 40% is in the top, and around the top 10 dominate, like almost 71% of is composed in the top 10 holding. Now let's look at the leaders in the semiconductor industry, and we'll try to find out how the leaders are behaving from the other ones in the industry. Like let's first take the example of Nvidia. We can see right now here that Nvidia is almost near the all-time highs. If you draw a line here, this is the all-time high made around the 140 levels, and it sold off. Now we can see that the stock is almost back to its all-time highs. It had a few months of correction, but the buyers have been entering, and once it gave a breakout from this triangle, it has been moving high up, and once if it crosses this particular one, the momentum might take it further to the upside direction. This is what might happen. That is one scenario. Or we can see some selling pressure coming in from the short sellers or sellers who will try to book some profit or try to initiate fresh short positions. So there will be a lot of price discovery happening at this point because it's the previous all-time high. So we can expect some kind of a price action that will happen here. So that is Nvidia. Let's look at the next biggest holding in the semiconductor industry, which is Taiwan Semiconductor, TS. Now you can see Taiwan Semiconductor, I think today is their quarterly results, and it has given a breakout. It has had a huge gap up, and we can see it is making fresh new all-time highs. It broke out from here. Like I just said, if Nvidia crosses it can show something like this. We can see that once it crossed this one, it has going up. So that is Taiwan Semiconductor stock price, and it's also, you can see that it's very far away from the moving averages, and all the moving averages are pointing up, showing significant strength. That's the second leader in the SMH ETF. The next one, which has close to 8%, is Broadcom. Let's look at AVGO on the charts. AVGO is also near the all-time highs. You can see here. I had published about this in my newsletter as well. You can see almost all the leaders, that is the top 3 leaders, are all near their all-time highs. Now let's look at some of the laggards in this industry, or some of them which have lower weight. The first one in this one is AMD. AMD, you can see the stock price is very far away from its all-time high made. It is also showing significant weakness with the stock almost near its 200-day moving average. things are not looking that great. It tried to break out from these phase, but it has pulled back again. That is AMD. The next one I think is ASML. We have already looked at ASML. The stock price moving averages are pointing down, showing weakness. And the next one is Applied Materials. AMAT is also very far away from its all-time high. We can see a clear difference between the leaders in the industry and the Me Too, or like the other smaller companies. I wouldn't say smaller companies, but lesser when compared to Nvidia size and the TSM size. They are like slightly lower, and they are a little bit far away from their all-time high prices. It is always better, especially in technology, when you are investing in technology related companies, to stay with the leaders, because the leaders continue to dominate markets. They continue to get bigger in their respective markets. Like we can see, like from the charts showing us that how the top three are clearly way ahead in terms of like their price momentum, as well as their closeness to the all-time highs. They are clearly showing that they are clearly breaking out and are very different, behaving in a different way from the other companies in the same industry. So that is the most important takeaway. It is better to stick with the leaders in their respective industries than to invest in other smaller companies, or like following some of them. There will be a lot of articles saying the next Nvidia, the next Apple, or the next Facebook, or next Meta. These kind of articles, like a lot of people like to follow these kind of articles, because they think, because of the FOMO, they fear they missed out on Nvidia. And then they might think, okay, I will try to catch the next Nvidia, while Nvidia itself is presenting some good opportunities to buy, like its price is breaking out and showing that it's moving in the right direction. Instead of buying Nvidia, they will try to buy the next Nvidia, or the next TSM, or the next Broadcom. And like I always say, it's always better to listen to the market. The market is telling us that these are the leaders in their respective industries, and they're clearly breaking out. If you like today's content, please do consider subscribing to my channel, and do share it with your friends if you found some value.